Hello and welcome to the Secure Synopsis 5th June 2021. Let us get started with the General Studies 2. Discuss about Indian states' progress in achieving sustainable development goals in the context of recently released SDG India Index. Right now, India is tracking its own sustainable development goals so that it becomes much more easier to have a comprehensive view of the progress that we have made in sustainable development goals. For that reason, every year it comes out with an index that will give an idea of where India actually stands. So, the Index for Sustainable Development Goals evaluates progress of states and union territories on various parameters including health, education, gender, economic growth, institutions, climate change, and environment. First launched in December 2018, the index has become the primary tool for monitoring progress on the SDGs in India. It has also fostered competition among states and the union territories by ranking them on the global goals. So, right now, we can see multiple states being part of different goals. For example, if I take goal 1, no poverty, Tamil Nadu and Delhi have been scoring high. At the same time, when we take goal 16, that is peace, justice, and strong institutions, Uttarakhand and Puducherry are scoring high. In the same way, multiple states are falling under multiple goals and they have been showcasing fantastic move. And this thing keeps changing every year. So, for that reason, we don't have to look at each and every state right now. So, the progress of Indian states in achieving sustainable development goals. The country's overall sustainable development score improved by 6 points from 2019 to 2021, that is from 60 to 66, on account of improvement in performance in providing facilities including clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, among others. While Kerala retained its rank as the top with a score of 75, Himachal Pradesh and Tamil Nadu both took the second spot with a score of 74. Bihar, Jharkhand, and Assam were the first performing states in this year's India Index. Chandigarh maintained its top spot among UTs with a score of 79, followed by Delhi, which was at 68. Mizoram, Haryana, Uttarakhand are the top gainers in 21 in terms of improvement in score from 2019, with an increase of 12, 10, and 8 points respectively. While in 2019, 10 states belonged to the category of front runners, score in the range of 65 to 99, including both 12 states find themselves in this category in 2020-2021. Uttarakhand, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Mizoram, Punjab, Haryana, Tripura, Delhi, Lakshadweep, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh graduated to the category of front runners. Scores from 65 and 99 and including both. Now, what are the challenges that are persisting right now? Sustainable Development Goals on eradication of poverty and hunger, measures related to the availability of affordable, clean energy in particular, showed improvements across several states and union territories. The campaign to improve the access of households to electricity and clean cooking fuel has been shown to be an important factor. While this is cause for cheer, the index reveals that there has been a major decline in the areas of industry, innovation, and infrastructure, besides decent work and economic growth, again made worse by lockdowns imposed by governments seeking to tackle the COVID 19 pandemic. With the stark differences between the southern and western states on the one hand and north, central, and eastern states on the other in their performance on the sustainable development goals point to persisting socio-economic and governance disparities. These, if left unaddressed, will exacerbate federal challenges and outcomes as seen in the public health challenges during the second wave of the coronavirus pandemic. Now, how do we conclude this? India's push in the right direction in achieving sustainable development goals related to clean energy, urban development, and health has helped it improve its overall SDG score from 60 to 66 in 21. India must continue to aggressively take up the goals as a challenge for New India by 2030. If in India, politics is set aside and if it works for the benefit of the people, we are going to be a fantastic nation. While discussing the strategic significance of Indian Ocean islands and the challenges before it, explain the significance of India's efforts to shape the strategic and military dynamics of the Indian Ocean region. Now, how do we introduce this? With global power dynamics shifting from west to east, that is towards China and India, we have shifted focus to ocean-based approach in determining geostrategies and foreign relations. The strategic importance of Indian Ocean region is ever increasing to the world order in general and Indian subcontinent in particular. A secure Indian Ocean region is key to ensuring security of India's national interests. Major reasons that explain the increasing significance of Indian Ocean islands are their location, which makes them vital for establishing a regional naval presence, and their proximity to sea lines of communications, which facilitates patrolling in the region during times of peace and conflict. The presence of these major powers in the form of naval establishments, trade, and infrastructure development aid to the smaller island nations, legitimizes their role as a security provider, thereby also allowing greater influence in the Indian Ocean region. Islands in the Indian Ocean are located near key transit routes, providing access and influence over important choke points and waterways, and thus their key geographies have the potential to impact geopolitical competition. Further west from India, the islands of Socotra, Yemen, Madagascar, Mauritius, and Seychelles have gained strategic importance, standing at the crossroads of Europe, Africa, and South Asia. While Socotra is strategically located at the opening of Gulf of Aden, which connects the Suez Canal with Indian Ocean, the maritime zones of Madagascar, Mauritius, Maldives, Seychelles span over 1 million square kilometers, which allows them greater rights in ocean waters. Now, what are the challenges? China's rapidly growing presence in the northern part of the Indian Ocean, along with the deployment of Chinese submarines and ships in the region, is a challenge for India. Traditional threats include the military presence of belligerent powers and consequent strategic rivalry, as well as terrorism, piracy, and illegal smuggling. Non traditional threats include the challenges of climate change, such as increasing natural disasters and loss of traditional livelihoods. A close partnership between these island nations and larger littoral countries thus becomes a practical necessity and plays a critical role in maintaining stability in the region. Now, what are those nations that we are talking about? Mauritius, Maldives, Sri Lanka, and Seychelles. Significance of India's efforts. India has stepped up its cooperation with Indian Ocean littoral states, that is what we discussed right now, and maritime neighbors as part of expanding its maritime engagement. Under the Neighborhood First policy, the Navy undertakes joint exclusive economic zone surveillance with Maldives, Seychelles, and Mauritius, and coordinated patrols with Bangladesh, Myanmar, Thailand, and Indonesia. Search and rescue and capability enhancement activities have also emerged as major areas. Besides escorting Indian flagged vessels, ships of other countries have also been provided protection. New Delhi's Indian Ocean policy, enshrined in Sagar, security and growth for all in the region, articulates India's vision for building a secured regional architecture which includes safeguarding mainland and islands, strengthening capacities of maritime neighbors, and advancing peace and security in the Indian Ocean region. For a country like India, the island nations of the Indian Ocean hold immense strategic value in shaping the geopolitical contours of the region and ensuring maritime security and order. The Indian islands of Andaman and Nicobar, as well as Lakshadweep, have significantly helped the country in enhancing its maritime capabilities. This enables India to closely observe military and economic activities in and around the Strait of Malacca, and also overlook the maritime entry point of Western Pacific Ocean countries in the Indian Ocean. The Indian Navy has provided hydrographic assistance to the islands of Mauritius, Maldives, and Seychelles for mapping ocean waters to ensure maritime security. India has also played a leading role spearheading the Indian Ocean Naval Symposium, which aims at strengthening maritime security through naval cooperation of its 35 members, and the Indian Ocean Rim Association, involving 21 members to work towards security, governance, promotion of blue economy, and cultural tourism. The membership of Comoros, the Seychelles, Mauritius, and Madagascar to these intergovernmental forums is indicative of India's efforts to promote stability and prosperity by involving all stakeholders irrespective of their economic and naval capabilities. Now, how do we conclude this? Resonating with the words of Alfred Mahan that whoever attains control of the Indian Ocean will dominate Asia, India has charted the path of becoming an influential and responsible leader in the Indian Ocean region. Next question. Amidst evident dependency both India and Bangladesh have for each other for security and stability, account for the importance of consolidation of ties between the two countries, and discuss the issues that need to be addressed. So, this question talks about the India and Bangladesh. Significance of India Bangladesh ties for each other's security and stability, security of Northeast, connectivity to Northeast, bridge to Southeast Asia, strengthening Southeast Asia as a regional power, securing sea lines of communication, fighting terrorism and de radicalization, balancing China. These are some of the seven significant points when it comes to the ties between India and Bangladesh. Let's start with balancing China. A neutral Bangladesh would ensure containment of an assertive China in this region and help in countering its strings of pearls policy, because China is right now having its strings of pearls also. with respect to Sri Lanka and other nations until Djibouti in Africa. Fighting terrorism and de-radicalization, stable, open and tolerant Bangladesh helps India in stopping extremists from flourishing there and also in cooperation in de-radicalization efforts, sharing intelligence and other counter-terrorism efforts. Securing sea lines of communication, Bangladesh is strategically placed nearby important sea lanes. It can play a significant role in containing piracy in the ocean. Strengthening South Asia as a regional power, Bangladesh is important for strengthening of SAARC, for promoting cooperation among its member nations to economic growth and securing strategic interests. Bridge to Southeast Asia, Bangladesh is a natural pillar of Act East policy. It can act as bridge to economic and political linkages with Southeast Asia and beyond. Bangladesh is an important component of BIMSTEC and BBIN initiatives. Connectivity of Northeast. The northeastern states are landlocked and have shorter route to sea through Bangladesh. Transit agreement with Bangladesh will spur a socio-economic development and integration of Northeast India. A friendly Bangladesh can ensure that its soil is not used for anti-India activities. Bangladesh's action resulted in the arrest of many top leaders of the Northeast insurgent groups like United Liberation Front of Assam and National Democratic Front of Bodoland. Indo Bangladesh bilateral ties. Bangladesh is India's biggest trade partner in South Asia. India and Bangladesh have facilitative trade agreement. Both are members of the Asia Pacific Trade Agreement, SAARC Preferential Trade Agreement, and the Agreement on South Asian Free Trade Area, which govern the tariff regimes for trade. Through Protocol on Inland Water Transit and Trade, India is assisting Bangladesh to capture the potential of waterways for both intra and inter border connectivity of Bangladesh. Rupur Atomic Energy Project is an Indo-Russian project in Bangladesh. Under it, India will provide personal training, consultation support, and participate in the construction and erection activity and non-critical materials supplied to the site in Bangladesh. India currently exports 660 megawatt of electricity on a daily basis to Bangladesh. Defense Through Defense Cooperation per Framework Pact, India is providing military equipment and technology transfer and enhancing cooperation in the field of strategic and operational studies. Space and technology. South Asian satellite has been launched to boost regional connectivity in the areas of disaster management, tele-education, telemedicine, inter-government networks, etc. Consolidation of bilateral ties is the need of the hour. India shares 54 transboundary rivers with Bangladesh. Some of the major disputes include the Teesta River water sharing issue, the Pai Mok hydroelectric power project on the Barak River, Ganga River water dispute. This must see early resolution. The Indo-Bangladesh border is of porous nature, which provides pathway for smuggling, trafficking in arms, drugs, and people and cattle. Border cooperation is the key for prevention. India must fast-track its project completion to ensure that Bangladesh's reliance on China stands reduced. Both nations must address the issue of illegal migration, and India must assure Bangladesh about its CAA and NRC, which otherwise would make relations frictional. How do we conclude this? Deepening relationship with Bangladesh has become a necessity in the face of shifting geoeconomics. Bangladesh, with its growing economic success and with its 8% growth rate, provides a vital partnership in the region. There is scope for India Bangladesh ties to move to the next level based on cooperation, coordination, and consolidation, as Prime Minister has termed the present period of relationship between the two countries as Sonali Adhyay. Let's move on to the next one. Sedition, a colonial era law frequently used to elude citizens who are exercising democratic rights of dissent, should have no space in India's legal system. Do you agree? Deliberate. As per Section 124A of IPC, sedition is an act that brings or attempts to bring into hatred or contempt, or excites or attempts to excite disaffection towards the government established by law in India by words, either spoken or written, or by signs or by visible representation or otherwise. Let's go on to the background. The Section 124A of the Indian Penal Code is a pre-independence provision which covers sedition charges against government. Various verdicts by Indian judiciary have led to reinterpretation and re-examination of sedition in light of the Article 19 of the Constitution. There has been an effort to strike a balance between right to free speech and expression, power of state to impose reasonable restrictions under Article 19, Clause 2. In 1962, the Supreme Court in Kedarnath Singh versus State of Bihar upheld Section 124A and held that it struck a correct balance between fundamental rights and the need of public order. The court had significantly reduced the scope of sedition law to only those cases where there is incitement to imminent violence towards overthrow of the state. Further, the court held that it is not mere against government of the day but the institutions as a symbol of state. Arguments against Section 124A, against democratic norms, it stifles the democratic and fundamental right of people to criticize the government. Inadequate capacity of state machinery, the police might not have the requisite training to understand the consequences of imposing such a stringent provision. possibility of misuse. It has been used arbitrarily to curb dissent. In many cases, the main targets have been writers, journalists, activists who question government policy and projects, and political dissenters. The draconian nature of this law, as the crime is non bailable, non cognizable, and punishment can extend for life, it has a strong deterrent effect on dissent, even if it is not used. Used to gag press, the press should be protected so that it could bear the secrets of government and inform the people. Only a free and unrestrained press can effectively expose deception in government. Arguments in favor of Section 124A, not really a draconian law. Now, after the Supreme Court directions, its jurisdiction has been narrowed down. It can be applied only on grounds laid down by the court. Application is a part of a reasonable restrictions. It is provided under Article Clause 19, Clause 2. Does not really curb free speech. One can use any kind of strong language in criticism of the government without inviting sedition. However, such dissent should not be turned into some kind of persuasion to break the country. Threats to unity and integrity of nation due to presence of anti-national elements and divisive forces such as Naxals, separatists who are receiving support from inside and outside the country. Mere misuse cannot be a ground of repeal. Rather, provisions should be made where such misuse is eliminated. Conclusion: the guidelines of the Supreme Court must be incorporated in Section 124A as well by amendment to IPC so that any ambiguity must be removed. Only those actions, words that directly result in the use of violence or incitement to violence should be termed seditious. The state police must be sufficiently guided as to where the sedition section must be imposed and where it must not. Need to include provisions where the government can be penalized if it misuses the section. This will ensure that Section 124A of IPC strikes a balance between security and smooth functioning of state with the fundamental right of freedom of speech and expression. Let's move on to the next question. Consistent effort of the profit philanthropy nexus is a must to build consensus around the demand for free and universal mass vaccination. Comment. A recent move by a Pune based charitable hospital needs to be evaluated. The hospital assured fixed set of doses per day to be given free of cost to the underprivileged. This shows that vaccine policy is flawed and there are deep inequalities that make right to life and good health a privilege of wealthy. However, proceeding from the normative commitment to the universal and fundamental right to life, reducing an essential life saving service such as vaccination to act on charity is deeply problematic at many levels. Issues with vaccination policy: the act of donating for vaccines as a charity to underprivileged individuals entails that the intended beneficiaries are implicitly not considered equal right bearing citizens. Under such a scheme of things, if one is unable to be the consumer who can purchase the commercial product, that is vaccine, at its market price, then they will have to become the client of the charitable patron and depend on their dole or donation. On the one hand, the said hospital will sell the vaccine at the so-called market rate to earn profits, and on the other hand, indulge in a peaceful act of charity. Such universalization would undermine the primacy of profit, whereas charity or philanthropy not only coexist but rather complement the profit motive or commercial interest. Hence, universalization is conceived only if the vaccine is considered as a public good, neither a commercial product nor a charitable dole to be availed as a citizen right by every citizen. And indeed, it has to be considered as a fundamental right, as the right to life cannot be devoid of the right to health, and anything that protects human life and health has to be made available universally to every human being. While agreeing in principle with this reasoning, one can still argue pragmatically that what is the harm if those who can afford are asked to pay for the vaccine. It should be borne in mind that a differentiated policy of vaccination would, by design, force a section of the society to depend on charity, as such policy would thwart the goal of universalization. Forcing individuals from a section of society to rely on charity is tantamount to relegating them to sub-citizens, if not subhuman level, devoid of dignity. Substantive reading of the right to life suggests that it is not about mere survival but a life of dignity, and hence it demands the universalization of vaccination is treated as a fundamental right. Now, what is the need of the hour? Universal vaccination is the main weapon in the fight against the pandemic. Your experiences around the world prove that it is the reliable way to herd immunity. Only when everyone is vaccinated can the country be insulated against the pandemic. For the safety of any person, his or her colleagues or neighbors also need to be vaccinated. Having accepted this fact, countries around the world have chalked out their policy in this global battle. In a huge country like India, where a large proportion of the population lives below the poverty line, this of course is a Herculean task. The challenge before the government is to take up this task. By May 25th, 20 crore people got vaccinated in India, but among them only 4 crore people could get doses. could get two doses. The government should come out in firefighting mode to collect sufficient doses of vaccines. The role of the government at such a crucial moment is vital. Free and universal vaccination in a time-bound manner should be the motto of the government. India has an efficient army of healthcare workers whose dedication and talents are proven. The government has to act here and now. The need of the hour is to prevent the third wave before its dreadful tentacles embraces. Let's move on to the next topic, General Studies 3. Discuss the major issue sources of black carbon emissions, analyze its impact on Himalayan ecosystem. Black carbon is a potent climate warming component of particulate matter formed by the incomplete combustion of fossil fuels, wood, and other fuels. According to a research done by the Wadia Institute of Himalayan Geology, the concentration of black carbon on Gangotri Glacier has almost doubled in the past few years, primarily because of artificial burning and forest fires. Now, what are the major sources of black carbon? One is forest fires. According to the Forest Survey of India, the forest fire activity is generally reported in Uttarakhand from February to June, with a peak in fire incidences in May and June. Domestic and commercial fuel wood burning, seasonal burning of crop residue, and developmental activities. Pollution from local, regional, and global sources that accumulate over the Himalayan region and increase the concentration of black carbon. Black carbon emissions from cook stoves or diesel engines. Impact on Himalayan ecosystem. Nearly 28% of particles collected from the air samples from a research station in the Himalayan Tibetan plateau where tar balls, a recent study has found. Black carbon deposits produced by human activity which accelerate the pace of glacier and snowmelt in the Himalayan region, can be sharply reduced through new, currently feasible policies by an additional 50% from current levels, new research by World Bank. The fine particles absorb light and about a million times more energy than carbon dioxide. Black carbon absorbs solar energy and warms the atmosphere. When it falls to Earth with precipitation, it darkens the surface of snow and ice, reducing their albedo, the reflecting power of a surface, warming the snow and hastening melting. Black carbon concentration near the Gangotri Glacier rose 400 times in summer due to the forest fires and stubble burning from agricultural waste and triggered glacial melt. Black materials absorb more light and emit infrared radiation, which increases the temperature. So, when there is an increase in black carbon in the higher Himalayas, it will contribute to faster melting of the Himalayan glaciers. Glacier melt produces flash floods, landslips, soil erosion, and glacial lake outburst floods. And in the short run, the higher volumes of melt water could replace receding groundwater downstream. But in the long run, decreased water availability would aggravate water shortage. In the longer run, the changes in the atmospheric composition of the high Himalayan will affect the weather pattern, such as rain and snow precipitation patterns, and accordingly, natural resources and socio-economic activities of the Himalayan communities. Changing rain patterns can have far reaching consequences for both ecosystems and human livelihoods. For example, by disrupting monsoons, which are critical for agriculture in large parts of Asia and Africa. Impact of human health. Concentration of black carbon particles was highest in the placentas of women who are most exposed to airborne pollutants in their daily life. Inhalation of these particles by mother gets translocated from the mother's lungs to the placenta, resulting in lifelong changes to the development of the baby, along with permanently damaging the lung tissues. The link between exposure to dirty air and increased cases of miscarriages, premature births, and long birth weights, which in turn increases the chances for diabetes, asthma, stroke, heart disease, and a lot of other conditions, has been established in this study. Full implementation of current policies to mitigate black carbon can achieve a 23% reduction, but enacting new policies and incorporating them through regional cooperation among countries can achieve enhanced benefits. The World Bank said in its research report titled Glaciers of the Himalayas, Climate Change, Black Carbon and Regional Resilience. So, conclusion, the black carbon aerosols contribute significantly towards global warming due to its light absorbing nature. Their presence in the eco-sensitive zones, such as the Himalayan glacier valleys, is a matter of serious concern and needs to be meticulously monitored. Black carbon is a short-lived pollutant that is the second largest contributor to warming the planet behind carbon dioxide. Unlike other greenhouse gas emissions, black carbon is quickly washed out and can be eliminated from the atmosphere if emissions stop. What is precision farming? List down the various benefits and challenges of precision farming to Indian agriculture system. Precision agriculture is an approach to farm management that uses information technology to ensure that crops and soil receive exactly what they need for optimum health and productivity. The goal of precision agriculture is to ensure profitability, sustainability, and protection of the environment. PI is also known as satellite agriculture, as needed farming and site specific crop management. It is a modern agriculture practice involving the use of technology in agriculture like remote sensing, GPS, and geographical information system for improving productivity and profitability. It enables farmers to use crop inputs more efficiently, including pesticides, fertilizers, and tillage and irrigation water. More effective utilization of inputs will bring in more crop yield and quality without polluting the environment and result in sustainable agriculture and sustainable development. Hence, precision agriculture is about doing the right thing in the right place, in the right way, at the right time. Advantages of precision farming: it will enhance agricultural productivity and prevent soil degradation in cultivable land, resulting in sustained agricultural development. It will reduce excessive chemical usage in crop production. Water resources will be utilized efficiently under the precision farming. GPS allows agricultural fields to be surveyed with ease. Moreover, the yield and soil characteristics can also be mapped. Dissemination of information about agricultural practices to improve quality, quantity, and reduced cost of production in agricultural crops. It will minimize the risk to the environment, particularly with respect to the nitrate leaching and groundwater contamination by means of optimization of agrochemical products. Non uniform fields can be subdivided into smaller plots based on their unique requirements. It provides opportunities for better resource management and hence reduce wastage of resources. Disadvantages of precision farming: high capital costs may discourage farmers to not adopt this method of farming. Precision agriculture techniques are still under development and requires expert advice before actual implementation. It may take several years before the actual collection of sufficient data to fully implement the system. It is an extremely difficult task, particularly the collection and analysis of data. How could India benefit from precision farming? Refinement and wider application of precision agriculture technologies in India can help in reducing costs, increasing productivity, and better utilization of natural resources. It has the ability to revolutionize modern farm management in India through improvement in profitability, productivity, sustainability, crop quality, environmental protection, on farm quality of life, food safety, and rural economic development. Site specific application of irrigation is wheat of Punjab and Haryana, pesticides in cotton, fertilizers applications in oil palm plantation in South India, and coffee and tea garden of eastern India can highly reduce production costs and also reduce environmental loading of chemicals. It can increase the efficiency of irrigation efficiency when water resources are low. Farmers can use forecast and mitigate problems like water stress, nutrient deficiency, and pests and diseases. It also increases opportunities for skilled employment in the agriculture sector and also provides new tools for evaluating multifunctional aspects, including non market functions. It has the essential role in the monitoring of greenhouse conditions in agricultural fields. Challenges in adopting precision farming in India. The adoption of precision farming in India is yet to come up because it is in the nascent stage due to its unique pattern of land holdings, poor infrastructure, and lack of farmers' inclination to take the risk. Social and economic conditions and demographic conditions are also put in place. The small size of land holdings in most of the Indian agriculture limits economic gains from the currently available precision farming technology because precision farming would require a huge amount of land with a single farmer. Now, how do we conclude it? Rapid socio-economic changes such as economic growth, urbanization, and energy consumption are creating new opportunities for the application of precision farming in India. Instead of blindly adopting the advanced precision agriculture technologies adopted by developed countries, India should adopt technologies based on the need of the socio-economic conditions of the country.